Joining us right now to talk a little national and maybe some statewide politics, it's GOP political strategist Matt Mackowiak. Matt, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Chad. I'm doing great. How about you?
Doing great. I guess I will put this in a general sense, a general question. How is everything in the Trump White House today?
It's a moving target. It's a little bit hard to know because so much of what we see out there is from a combative press corps that, boy, it sure seems like they are emotionally invested in disqualifying or ultimately proving that Donald Trump is failing. There's just so much investment between the media and the Democratic Party together in undermining Trump that you don't even really know what to believe. I mean, look, I think it's fair to say there's been some bumpy days. Obviously, the way the immigration or the travel ban executive order was carried out was very clunky. But you contrast that with the Supreme Court nomination. That was an absolute home run. So, look, this is a team of outsiders in many cases. He doesn't have his cabinet in place. He's got, I think, 5 or maybe 6 cabinet secretaries at this point. Yeah. So he's in a bit of a transition here, kind of getting up to speed, getting the team all working on the same page, getting his government filled in. But look, there's good Trump and there's bad Trump, as Newt Gingrich often says. And when he's good, he's really good, and when he's bad, he's really bad. And I think the job of Chief of Staff Reince Priebus and the entire White House team is to really limit those sort of unforced errors that the team makes.
Was there an unforced error this weekend when the president sat down with Bill O'Reilly and compared the U.S. to Vladimir Putin and the sins of Vladimir Putin to the United States? I mean, what was that a misstep on Trump's part, you think?
No question. It's an outrageous statement. It's the kind of thing you hear from a left-wing anarchist, equating whatever bad deeds the United States has done in its past to a regime that's killed tens of thousands of its own people, that's seized Crimea, that's attacking Ukraine, that's threatening Eastern Europe and wants to break up NATO. A regime that has no press freedom, no freedom of dissent. A terrible human rights record. You can't equate the two. It's ridiculous. So I don't understand, what Trump's trying to do in that regard. The most charitable explanation is he's playing some type of three-dimensional chess where he wants to, improve relations with Russia because he believes that is ultimately how we can help defeat ISIS and finally solve this tremendous challenge in Syria. But no, I don't understand it. He continues to feed the paranoia that the left and others have about Russia with these statements, and it's just not hard to say that Putin's regime is one that must be confronted.
Is this where his lack of being a politician and knowing how to get out of questions? Because look, I don't remember President Obama being asked by O'Reilly, which I personally think O'Reilly went after Trump a little harsher than he ever went after Obama. But, to ask the brand new president who's only been in office for, 14, 15 days, hey, is Vladimir Putin a killer? It's hard for a new president to say that if you do want to have a good relationship, right? Is that where the lack of knowing the political verbiage to get out of that, is that where this hurts Trump?
Yeah, I don't think that's an unreasonable point, and I think a lot of times we overstate what Trump says and what it means. He is very imprecise with his language. That's one side of the coin. The flip side is he's also very bold and dynamic, and he grabs attention. He did that as a candidate. He's obviously done it as president. So there's two sides to that coin. But yes, I think he is probably trying to create better relations with Russia, and he doesn't want to take sort of gratuitous shots at Putin, that he doesn't think it's in the United States' interest. He doesn't think that's how you begin to build relations with other world leaders. So part of this, again, I think is just, as you said, he's not used to sort of dodging, kind of cleverly dodging these tough questions. On this one, that one's just not a hard question, though. That's the thing. It's so dispiriting. It's not hard to not equate the United States with Russia in terms of its record.
Visiting with Matt Mackowiak. Matt, what is the latest that you're hearing from lawmakers, or the latest buzz as far as the Supreme Court pick goes? Obviously, you have this immigration order that will probably, or this travel, whatever we want to call it, it'll make its way to the Supreme Court. How is all this going to work out with Gorsuch and Democrats who some want to block him, some don't want to block him? There's a lot of games being played.
Yeah, I was just interviewing Ed Whalen for my Mac on Politics podcast on Friday, and it's funny. I mean, he was a law clerk to late Justice Scalia. I mean, he really wants Democrats to filibuster Gorsuch. He wants to get rid of the filibuster altogether. He believes that's the best way to ensure that we get conservatives replacing Kennedy and Ginsburg when and if they retire or die, particularly if either of those occur in the first 4 years of the Trump presidency. I don't know. The Democrats, I think, are kind of deliberating right now over what they want to do strategically. They know they can't defeat Gorsuch. He's going to be confirmed one way or the other. My guess is in the next 8 weeks he will be confirmed. The question is whether they believe they need to filibuster him to sort of exact a political price for blocking Merrick Garland. And that's what their base is requiring. You have people like Michael Moore threatening primaries against any Democrat that doesn't filibuster. In the hours after Gorsuch was nominated, there was, I think, 7 Democrats that said they would not support a filibuster of Gorsuch. Now, I think some of them are probably rethinking that. So I don't know where it's headed from here. I think the Democratic strategic position is unknown. It's a little murky right now. But Gorsuch is meeting privately with Senate Judiciary Committee members. He's impressing them. He'll do very well in the confirmation hearings, which I would presume would be in about a month, maybe 6 weeks. So I don't have a lot of doubt that he's going to be on the court. He is an absolutely outstanding nominee. You can almost find no one that's criticizing him except for folks on the far left. But I think Democrats face a strategic choice here. And, they can either listen to their base or they can do the smart political thing. We'll see what they do.
Matt, as we wrap up, any surprises from last week's State of the State address, in your opinion?
No, I'd heard some chatter that voter ID might be in the mix, so I was a little surprised that wasn't in there, but that was just chatter. I thought it was a pretty strong State of the State. Obviously, CPS reform, Child Protective Services reform, sanctuary cities, the governor's been extremely strong on that issue, and that's, I think, going to pass with overwhelming majorities in the House and Senate pretty early. It looks like it's going to pass the Senate this week. And obviously ethics reform. You look at what Van Taylor's done. He's basically got 23 or 24 senators that are co-sponsored his ethics reform bill, which is, I think, also going to pass the Senate this week. So Abbott, I think, is very likely to get, pretty much all 4 of his emergency items through this legislative session. That is the sign of a strong governor, that your emergency items are things that the legislature passes.
Matt, what can people find on mustreadtexas.com, and what do you have coming up on your podcast this week?
Yeah, we just posted this morning former U.S. Ambassador to Russia, Michael McFaul. A very interesting interview, and then Ed Whalen on the Supreme Court. So you can find that at Mack, on politics.com. On Must Read Texas, we put out an email brief every morning, usually by 8 a.m. It pulls the top news and opinion from around the state, puts it in one email, delivered right to your inbox. 4,000 Texans get it. You can sign up at mustreadtexas.com.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. We'll visit with you next week.
Look forward to it. Take care.
All right, that's Matt Mackowiak.